We could all use some encouragement. And I've got some good news for you. Welcome to 5 Minutes with Mark. Greetings, friends. Welcome back to 5 Minutes with Mark. We're picking up the story, the Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, at verse 2. The Pharisees came and asked him, "Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife?" testing him. And he answered and said to them, "What did Moses command you?" They said, "Moses permitted a man to write a certificate of divorce and to dismiss her." And Jesus answered and said to them, "Because of the hardness of your heart, he wrote you this precept." We'll stop right there. Now, Jesus has got a lot more to say, but I think there's a couple of interesting things we need to look at. First, the Pharisees have come and they're testing Jesus. They're trying to find something that they can pin on this guy. They just don't like him. And Jesus has already entered into this conflict with the religious establishment because he just doesn't say the things they want to hear. He doesn't do the things they want to do. He didn't come up through the proper channels. He wasn't sanctioned by their group. So therefore, if he's not one of us, he must be against us. Kind of what Jesus was saying to his disciples about the guy casting out demons. Hey, if he's with us, if he's for us, he's with us. If he's with us, he's for us. The Pharisees are saying, he's not really for us, so he must be against us, so we're against him. And we're going to see this conflict really begin to grow as we move into the latter half of the Gospel of Mark. But they ask him about marriage. Is it okay for a man to divorce his wife? That's a pretty straightforward question. And Jesus says, well, what does Moses say about that? What does the law say? You guys are the lawyers. You're the ones who know the law. And they say, well, Moses says that you could do that. You could write a certificate of divorce and send your wife away. And if you go back and you look, that's in Deuteronomy is where you find that. Deuteronomy in chapter 24, 1 through 4. And what it says basically is that if a man finds a defilement, an uncleanness, there's something wrong with the woman that he's married that he discovers after they've been married. In other words, if you marry a woman thinking that you're marrying a woman who's never slept with another man, and it turns out she has, or you're marrying a woman who you believe, everything that you believe is that she is a follower of God like you are, and it turns out she's worshiping a false god. If there's something like this that comes up, then Moses gave them permission to write a certificate of divorce and send them away. It was never just because I'm tired of her. She's getting old. She's not as pretty as she used to be. I don't like the way she cooks, or she just irritates me. I'm done. That was never, ever the law. The law was if you find some defilement, some uncleanness, if something becomes visible that was invisible before, that is not pleasing to God and therefore not pleasing to you, then you do have the right, a permission to write a certificate of divorcement and send her away. But Jesus says, yeah, but look, it was because of the hardness of your heart that he gave you this precept. This is not God's plan. This is not God's design. Just because you marry someone and then you find out that there's something going on that you weren't aware of, doesn't mean the right thing to do is to get rid of her. Wouldn't the right thing to do, if your heart is tender, if you're in love, you love this person, if you're in the kind of relationship with your wife that God wants with us, where he's forgiving, he's merciful, he's graceful, shouldn't that be our driving force? And then we're looking for reconciliation. Then, even though this surprise comes up, it doesn't cause you to want to put her away. It causes you to want to help restore that relationship. That would be the right thing to do. And that's what Jesus is saying to the Pharisees. Yeah, okay, Moses gave you an out clause, but that's what it is. It's an out clause. Moses, because he knew your hearts were hardened, and it was going to be worse for her to live with you with your suspicions and your meanness and your lack of love and your lack of grace and your lack of mercy. It'd actually be better for her to not have to deal with that. But that's not the perfect plan that God has for our marriages. And as we move forward in this, then we're going to see what Jesus is talking about. Stick around. It gets better. I hope you're enjoying this Bible study, this quick devotion. If you'd like more content, you'd like to know more about me and see more of the things that I'm doing, check out my website, theeclecticmonk.com. There you'll find out about my video vlog, my podcast, and a whole lot of other stuff. Hope you'll join me there. Thanks.